Hey you guys, it's me. I just wanted to do a video and explain keto the way that I understand keto, because there's so much information out there. But what I have noticed when I look on the Facebook groups is there's a lot of people saying that they don't really understand why it's working, but it's working, and they can't get their head around it. My husband's the same, and I have explained this to him from my point of view, but he still can't get his head around it. And that's not surprising, because my husband and I both think about things very, very differently. So he might be able to watch a video on the internet and understand it presented in a different way. But I thought if I tell you how I've sort of got it in my mind, it might click with you and you might go, okay, that makes sense. So the way that keto works is, I thought that it was a diet that you could eat as much protein as you want. And it was all about protein. It's not. It's all about fat. It's eating really as much fat as you can and limiting your protein and carbs and calories. And I thought, well, how on earth can that work? The way that it can work is, if you're wanting to lose weight, is your body will look first to carbs to use that for energy. And when I say energy, your body needs a certain amount of carbs just to, even if you were sitting on the sofa watching TV all day, it would still need energy to keep you breathing, to keep you being able to lift, to get the remote control. You know, it needs a certain amount of energy just for you to survive, what they call homeostasis, just to make sure that you are alive and everything is working. But of course, we often do more than that, and so we need more energy. And so the first place that your body looks for it is carbohydrates, and that's what it will burn. Which means that normally, on a daily basis, if you're eating fat, you will keep that fat in your body. It won't get burnt up. It will just lay down, in my case, on my tummy, especially if, like me, you have a hormone imbalance, it's more likely to lay down on your body. If it can't get carbs, it will look to protein and convert the protein into carbs for energy. But if there's not enough protein and there's not enough carbs, it will then start burning fat. So when you're on a normal diet, you will limit your intake of food generally, you know, a calorie controlled diet. And so it will use the carbs first, then it will use protein, and then it will use up a little bit of fat sometimes, but not always. You know, you'll often see, like if you're walking on a treadmill, there's a specific way you need to lose fat, and it's not necessarily happening just by doing a diet. You'll first lose weight, then you'll lose fat if you do, you know, if you continue to lose weight, if you do certain exercises, etc., etc. So when you go on a keto diet or a keto way of eating, you're cutting out the carbs. There is obviously a small amount of carbs. I'm trying to stick to 20 grams of carbs, and there's a small amount of protein. That carb and protein is probably being used just for homeostasis, so just to keep me going if I was sitting on the couch doing nothing. Then when my body needs energy, there's no carbs and protein there for them to use, so it's using up the fat that I've been eating. So if I've had a cup of coffee with cream, it's going to use that cream for energy. Therefore, you don't lay down fat because it's using it for energy. It's a much more efficient way of working. And if you can reduce that fat to an amount that there isn't quite enough fat for the energy output you are using, then it will take some of your stored fat and burn that as energy. And so hopefully that explains it to you, because it made perfect sense to me when I figured it out that way, that basically your body needs energy. If there's no carbs there, it's going to use fat. That's it in a nutshell. And so that's why you can eat fat, because that's the thing my husband can't get his head around. How can you eat so much fat? Like, he's seen me having sausages for lunch, having cream in my coffee, which it wouldn't suit him, to be honest, because he can't stand cream, having butter on toast, and he's like, and yet you're not putting on weight. And he's seen me over the years easily put on weight by eating bad things. But if you take a normal day, if I had, so I decided I was going to do keto for the day, and I got up and had cream in my coffee, then I had butter on toast, then I had a keto lunch, say salmon and avocado, but then I was like, oh, you know what, I really want a cake, and I had a cake. What would happen is my body would then use the energy from that cake to do whatever else I needed to do, and the cream and the butter would get laid down in my body. So that's why you can't mix. That's why you need to stay in keto or ketosis, because then it was pointless me having cream, it was pointless me having butter, because it's going to just stay in my body. But if I don't have the carbs, it will use up that and maybe some of my stored fat. So that's what's made me realise there's no point doing it halfway. You need to stick to it and make sure you don't come out of ketosis. If you do have a reason that you, like say you're going out to dinner, or you're going, I know my friend went on a course recently with her work, and it, you know, all the dinners were already organised and it wasn't something where she could be keto. If that is happening to you, the best thing to do is to just think of it in the, maybe your old mindset, and don't have the bad foods. So don't have the, you know, massive amounts of cream, massive amounts of butter. Just remember then that your body's going to use the carbohydrates that you eat for energy. So whatever fat you eat is going to lay down. That's the time to be low fat, I would say. If you're not doing keto, for whatever reason, try and eat low fat so that your body is burning the carbs and protein. So hopefully that's helpful to somebody out there that's struggling to get their head around it. Feel free to correct me if you think I've said anything wrong. This is just my understanding of nutrition, which I feel like is quite broad. You know, it was part of the health sciences degree I was doing when I was at the hospital, and it is something I've been interested in. Nutrition I've been interested in for, well, 30 years. I bought my first book on like vitamins and minerals and food and all that kind of thing in my teenage years. I was very, very interested in it, but I'm happy to be corrected. So I wish you well. I hope you're doing really well on keto, and I will speak to you again soon.